All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Banger Plaza. Hopped on my YouTube homepage, and the first thing I saw was KillSwitch Engage had dropped. I haven't seen a KillSwitch Engage drop in quite some time. I feel like it's been forever. I could be wrong on that, but they released a song called Aftermath. And judging from just what we're seeing right now, this is probably going to be a very interesting song. So I'm excited to take a look and see what's going on. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. I'd give my life to change this KillSwitch Engage. Okay. It's like factories and stuff. So they keep putting stuff like this up. I'm going to keep pausing. To ground Aftermath in truth, we collaborated with some of the world's leading environmental groups, capturing both the destruction and determination to stop it. Okay. In some countries, factories dump raw poison straight into rivers. No treatment, no oversight. I mean, they're not wrong. This is gonna be one of those videos. All right. Wildfire smoke can travel thousands of miles, poisoning air on the other side of the world. They're not wrong there either. This is very harrowing. Maybe I'm using the right word. It's enough to make you think about just everything that's going on in the world. This picture right here gets me. Just the filth and what we do as humans to the one place in the universe we can actually inhabit. It's fucked up. In parts of Africa, families survive on 1 gallon of water per day, less than a single toilet flush. You think about that, right? Less than 1 gallon of water a day. You don't think about how much water you actually use. I do take some of this, kind of seriously, because you just, depending on where you are in the world, you do not realize that you were just one location away or being born somewhere else from being stuck in a situation like this, right? Like I feel like a lot of us take everything that we have for granted. It's not, this is not far off from reality here. I mean, it's facts. I almost feel like I can't jam out to this because it's just like the message: floodwaters can carry raw corpses and industrial waste in the residential neighborhoods. I mean, just think about the flooding that just happened within the last year with what is it, North Carolina, South Carolina, that whole area down there. Just the whole neighborhood's washed away. I'm sorry I keep pausing. If you guys don't like it, I wouldn't blame you for not watching. It's just this is kind of an eye-opener. $19.23 million tons of plastic waste enter aquatic ecosystems annually. So, you go to the store, you pick up your fish, they're surrounded, that whole ecosystem, nothing but plastic, right? Because everybody produces trash. Trash has got to go somewhere. So it either gets burned, land gets torn down, it gets buried, or people just dump the shit in the oceans. And, eventually everything comes around, right? Like they're saying that we've got like so many parts per million of microplastics within our systems, which plastic is something that we created. So it would only make sense that eventually it infects the ecosystem and affects the food and what the air we breathe even, and now it's coming back to us and it's affecting us negatively. So in a sense, us creating all of this is actually killing us. Let me pull it back a little bit. The air around major e-waste sites is toxic enough to corrode lungs and burn skin, and I believe they mean that's electronic waste. I mean, it's proof enough. If you take your phone outside and you smack that bitch against the ground, it's going to catch on fire, right? Lithium-ion batteries have been known to burn the ever-loving shit out of people. I mean, even kill them. And look at us going to like battery-powered vehicles, and the carbon footprint that those create. Listen, I'm not a ecologist or whatever scientific term that you use, but it's something that you can't really ignore. Like I walk around every day and see signs of what us as humanity do to our environment. I live out in the countryside, and there's just trash all over the place, and you see pictures of animals with human waste around their necks and stuff like that. It's insane. Man. Yep, there you go. That's what I said. Microplastics have been found inside human blood. So we're literally in this never-ending cycle of we created something, we put it into the environment, we're pulling from the environment, and now we're ingesting it. And this is kind of the result. We're honestly killing ourselves. Wildfire survivors report permanent PTSD from walls of fires and bodies in the road. You see stuff like that. It's not something that you're going to be able to get rid of. Fuck, man. In heavily polluted areas, autopsies reveal lungs coated in black sludge and riddled with lesions. So, and this is what I'll say. We created all of this stuff to make life easier for us and to manufacture all of these goods and services for humans. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, what's the true cost of ease of life, right? Especially for the people that live and have to live and work in these conditions. I mean, you're trading your life and your health for a paycheck at this point. That's the reality. Fuck, man, this is deep. Extreme weather events have increased fivefold over the last 50 years. I mean, you can see in the last couple of years with some of the crazy storms that we've had and the rain and the floods and houses getting washed away and everything. When I was a kid growing up, it would... I skipped a little too far ahead. Oops. Back to what I was saying. When I grew up as a kid, it would snow almost every winter. And now in some locations, you're lucky if you get, a couple of inches of snow, and that's just kind of how everything's changed. And sometimes you do get snow. It's just not as often as I remember. But I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not a weatherman. So, I see a lot of stuff on the news, of just weather patterns and, some of these events that are happening, and they are saying that they've definitely gained in intensity and they're causing more destruction, which is honestly, it definitely could be an effect of us as humanity. That's so crazy. Like, I don't know if this is like just shot footage, right? Or if this is like legitimate, like they videotaped this. That this right here. Like, there are some people in countries that are way less fortunate than us sitting here right now, that this is their life. This is what they crawl around in to, like, make their living and get stuff done. Like, that has to be bad for your health. That has to be absolutely horrendous for your health. And now it's going into, it's showing you all of the bad. Now they're showing you, you know, kind of the examples of what you can do to, you know, change. I mean, even something just as simple as, you know, you say you're drinking a can of Coke in your car and you finish it, and it's easier for you to chuck it out the window than take it inside and throw it in the recycling bin or throw it in your trash can, right? Just take it inside instead of leaving it on the side of the road for somebody else to pick up, or for it to just disintegrate into the environment, make the world look ugly. Volunteers monitor pollution in rivers and trigger cleanup enforcement. Volunteers have planted millions of trees. I mean, we're kind of gonna have to get to that point where we're planting as much as we're taking. And even then, you've still got to wait for the trees that are planted to, you know, catch up to the ones that have been taken. Fun fact, we kind of need plants to survive. And if we keep taking away from the ecosystem, eventually, you know, the ecosystem might cease to fucking be. It said volunteering can reduce stress, anxiety, and physical pain. I can't really attest to that. I do volunteering on the side. Some of my volunteering can indeed be stressful. Doesn't really give me anxiety, but at the end of the day, I do kind of be sore. You help the world, you help yourself, right? So that's like they're saying about the microplastics. We reduce the amount of plastics that are in the environment, and we clean everything up, and, you know, maybe store it in a place that it isn't affecting the environment that we actively take from on a day-to-day basis. You know, maybe we can, you know, stop being sick. 77.3 million adults volunteered through the organizations in the U.S. during 2023, approximately 30.3% of the adult population. That's sick. That's good. I give my life. I give my life to change this. But you can't. Access to safe water is a critical human right. Yes, because fun fact, humans can't live without water, folks. I apologize if you've made it this far through the video. I want to jam out to this song as much as the next person, but I don't think that's the message with this song, right? I think they want you to stop. I think they want you to pause and think about this and, you know, contemplate what your actions are on a day-to-day basis versus being focused on just the music itself. They wouldn't put this in the video if they didn't want you to pay attention to it. But you can't save all the life. I give my life. I give my life to save you. But I can't turn back the time. Turn back the time. These 4K nature shots are insane. Look at that. That is crazy. We aim to protect human health and the environment against the adverse effects of hazardous wastes, which, in all honesty, it's probably something that we should all want, right? Because you don't want to be eating and consuming hazardous waste. I mean, you don't know what that stuff does to your body. We don't know half of what we consume on a day-to-day basis does to our body until years down the road, and then you're wondering, well, you know, I was healthy yesterday. Why all of a sudden am I riddled with all of these crazy diseases? I because we're creating an ecosystem for ourselves that we were never meant to live in. Together we'll heal the river. And that's, I mean, that's something I have been seeing a lot and in like my Facebook feed and stuff. A lot of people are banding together to like clean up some of these rivers that are just completely filled with junk. And there was one video that I saw a couple days ago where you couldn't even tell it was a actual river there. There's so much trash embedded on the top of this river that plants had actually started overgrowing on top of it, and it started to look like soil. And then they pulled all the trash out of it, and the water just looks like toxic waste. It was disgusting. It was crazy. Every shell, every feather, every life matters. And it does, because everything that is within these ecosystems creates some level of balance. And as you guys know, once a balance is shifted, it's kind of very hard to bring it back. Everything we put in place will stay in place and be able to survive. Hudson River Park Trust. I don't know much about the Hudson River Park Trust, but I'll definitely do a little bit of research. I'm assuming this is one of those volunteer organizations that have been working towards cleaning up areas and making sure that the area can continue to thrive. I can't turn back the time, but I can still try. And it's completely and totally possible for us to help heal the environment, but the way humanity is right now, it's not about saving what we have. It's we're such a convenience-based society now. It's all about what can convenience me, what can I get immediately, how quickly can I grow a crop, what can I inject it with to make sure I can grow as much as humanly possible to sell for as much money as humanly possible. And you know, sometimes that's the reason why like your organic you know, grown vegetables and stuff, they cost more because it takes time and effort to do it the right way versus injecting it with a bunch of fucking chemicals that you have no idea you know, the aftermath of, which funny enough I say that and that's the title of the song. What is the aftermath of us doing what we do now? Real change doesn't happen on its own. It takes people who speak out and do the work. Your actions matter. They do. 100%. We can all just sit here and watch as our world falls apart and we slowly die a slow, painful, disease-riddled death. Or we can take matters into our own hands and stop all of this. Join the movement. Be the difference. Produced in collaboration with Basel Action Network, Clean Water Action, Hudson River Park Trust, and Save Coastal Wildlife. And then they also leave a QR code for all of these networks so you can learn more yourself. And it's got the KillSwitch Engage skull inside. That's cool. Oh. I have a newfound respect for KillSwitch Engage. I'll be honest with you guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was KillSwitch Engage Aftermath. I apologize to anybody who didn't like all of my pausing, but I feel like reading the message was far more important than actually listening to the song. The song was good, and it definitely portrayed a message, but the video itself, I believe, was meant to be paused. It was meant to kind of review everything and kind of understand the message that they were trying to convey, because they're not wrong. All of that is pretty much fact. Our environment is it's falling apart. Ecosystems are being wiped out, and depending on where you are, you honestly might not see it, but it's slowly affecting you on a day-to-day basis. And eventually, as all of these cogs in the machine called Earth, slowly get removed, or they break, or they crack, things will start to fall apart. Trees, they generate our oxygen that we breathe. The bee problem right now, beekeepers are having issue keeping bees alive just because of pollutants or parasites, this, that, and the other thing. The human effort it would take to pollinate everything on the planet to make sure it actually does what it needs to do? It's physically impossible. That's the reason why all of these organisms and creatures exist, to fulfill these purposes. Everything was created with kind of a balance aspect to it, and I think that we're the one thing that wasn't equated into the balance, because we came from living off of the land and respecting the land to just sprawling out across every known inch of the earth and placing our flag and expanding and dominating and twisting the landscape into what we deem is necessary to suit and fulfill our day-to-day needs and requirements. Because like I say again, we are a convenience-based organism. We want convenience no matter the cost. And if you don't believe me, most every human has one of these. You got to think about how much it takes to actually produce one of those, and all of the chemicals and stuff that come out of these once we're finished with them, or you break it and the lithium-ion battery inside of it explodes. That's the reality of it. We've produced so much plastic that we are now becoming plastic ourselves, and that's not a joke. That's reality. Do a little bit of research into it. And I take a lot of this pretty seriously, because at the end of the day, right, you want a world for your kids to be able to grow up. You want a world for your family to be able to thrive in. And you kind of can't do that if you're being slowly killed by all the toxic chemicals and stuff that we as humanity produce to fulfill our convenient base needs. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, food for thought, something to think on. KillSwitch Engage definitely produced a really good song, but I don't think the song was the point. I think it was the message. So just food for thought, man. So if you guys like what KillSwitch Engage put out today, I'm going to leave a link to their profile and a link to the song down in the description, so you guys can check this out for yourselves, and maybe you can check that QR code so you can get more involved in what's going on around you. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.